What kind of mother poisons her own children? What kind of world lets it happen before anyone even notices? And when a father calls 911 to report that his wife just tried to drown their kids, do we believe him? Or do we ask, what else is he hiding? This is Liberty County, Texas, a quiet community where people still wave at each other across long driveways. Until one night, that peace was shattered by a call that would send deputies racing to a private estate and into a scene that defies explanation. Authorities say 61-year-old Domingo Quintana made the call. He told dispatchers his wife, Jessica, had poisoned their children with NyQuil and tried to drown them in a pond behind their home. But what officers found when they arrived was chaos. Children, limp, drenched, barely breathing, lying on the cold ground, their mother floating in the water, unresponsive, and their father pacing nearby, shaking, crying, and telling deputies that he had pulled them all out himself. But if he was the hero, why was he arrested just hours later? Investigators say they found starving animals scattered around the property. Dogs and cats, bones visible through their skin, chickens dying in filth, enough to charge Domingo with animal cruelty. A strange twist, because while his wife lay in a hospital bed and his children were rushed into protective custody, he was the one sitting in a jail cell. How does a man go from calling 911 for help to being accused of neglecting everything around him? Authorities say both Domingo and Jessica are now under investigation. Every room in their home is being searched, every bottle and container collected. Because near that pond, officers found something chilling. Open bottles of NyQuil, half-empty cups, and traces of substances still waiting for lab confirmation. Were the children drugged before being led to the water? And if so, how long had this been planned? Jessica Quintana is still fighting for her life, unconscious and under watch. Her 11-year-old daughter remains in critical condition. Two other children, ages 15 and 6, are stable, but the trauma they witnessed may never leave them. They are now in Child Protective Services custody. Safe, yes, but forever changed. And the deeper you look into this family, the darker the story gets. Public records showed the Quintanas were drowning in lawsuits. Tens of thousands owed in unpaid property taxes, hundreds of thousands in unpaid contracts. Neighbors say they kept to themselves, rarely seen. Yet from the outside, the family appeared to have it all: land, livestock, and a quiet life. But behind those gates, was there something no one dared to see? Why do stories like this always feel familiar? A family under pressure, a mother cracking under invisible weight, a father claiming innocence while chaos builds around him, and a community that says, afterward, we had no idea. But maybe that's the problem. We never want to see what's right in front of us. How does a woman get to the point of mixing NyQuil into her children's drinks? Was it despair, mental illness, abuse, or something even darker that's still being covered up? Police Captain David Myers says both parents remain subjects in the ongoing investigation. No one is off the hook. Forensic teams have combed the property, from the pond to the kitchen counters, collecting every trace of evidence that could tell the truth about that night. And as they continue their work, one thing is certain: something inside that home broke before the water did. Why did no one step in? Why didn't anyone see the warning signs, the financial ruin, the isolation, the neglected animals, the emotional collapse? How many families are quietly living like this right now, one bad night away from tragedy? And when the story fades from the news cycle, will anyone remember the children? Or will they become just another statistic of a broken system that fails the very people it was built to protect? There's a moral rot that no one wants to talk about, the kind that hides behind middle-class smiles and manicured lawns, where people would rather pretend everything is fine than admit their world is falling apart. Maybe that's what happened to the Quintanas. Maybe this wasn't just a crime. Maybe it was a collapse we all helped create. As of tonight, Jessica remains hospitalized. Domingo faces new scrutiny for his history of financial deception and neglect. And 3 children are left to make sense of a home that turned into a crime scene. This story is still developing, and with every new discovery, the picture gets more disturbing. Investigators are reportedly testing for sedatives, searching the water for hidden evidence, and re-examining old civil suits to trace where the money and the lies began. But the real question isn't just what happened that night. It's why it happened and how many warning signs were ignored before it was too late. If you're watching this, you need to stay with the story, because this case, the Quintana case, isn't just about one family. It's about every crack in a society that lets pain grow quietly until it explodes into horror. We'll be following the investigation as it unfolds, piece by piece, bringing you the truth that others are too afraid to ask about. Subscribe now and turn on notifications, because the next chapter of this story might change how you see everything, from the justice system to the people living right next door. When a tragedy like this happens, it's easy to blame one person, to say she snapped, he didn't see it coming, no one could have known. But let's be honest, someone always knows. There are always signs. And the most painful part is, they're usually right in front of us. Behind closed doors, families collapse in silence. They smile for neighbors. They post family photos online. They look fine. Until the day they're not. And when everything falls apart, we rush to ask why. But maybe the real question is, why didn't we care until now? This story, this horror, didn't happen overnight. It built up over years. Debt piling up, tension rising, love turning into control, then resentment, then something unrecognizable. And everyone around them just kept moving, because that's what we do. We keep scrolling. We look away. We talk about family values, but we don't check on the people living next door. We say we care about mental health, but only after the headlines hit. We see the warning signs, but we call it just stress, until it's too late, and the unthinkable becomes reality. This isn't just one family's tragedy. It's a reflection of something much bigger, a society that measures success by how much you hide, not how much you heal. A culture that punishes struggle instead of understanding it, where mothers collapse in silence, fathers crumble under pressure, and children pay the price. And yet, after the headlines fade, after the investigation cools, after the next story takes its place, we'll go back to pretending everything's fine. But everything isn't fine, and if this story makes you uncomfortable, it should, because it's not just about them, it's about us. Every broken system, every ignored cry for help, every person who chooses comfort over compassion. There's more to come, and it's darker than what we've seen so far. Investigators are still uncovering pieces that could change the entire picture, and when they do, you'll want to know. You'll want to understand how deep this goes and what it says about the world we've built. So if you're still here, it's because part of you knows this matters. Don't look away now. Don't let this become just another forgotten case. Subscribe. Stay with this story, because the truth isn't finished speaking.